guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat and this is Catadactyl. So today I'm going to be doing my mid-year book Freakout tag, and I like to do this one just as like a recap of the past 6 months. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into the first question, which is, what is your favorite book so far? So far, I think it is Let the Right One In by Jon Levichik. I can never pronounce it, I'm so sorry, but it's here. And in this one, we follow a young boy who's being like beaten up mercilessly at school, and he's really just fantasizing about getting back at his bullies and being stronger and having people fear him. But then one day, people start to get murdered in his town in Sweden, and he's just hoping that it will be the bullies, but it never is the bullies. And then he meets a weird girl that moves in next door to him, and she seems to be wearing like weird clothes, and she kind of smells like rot, and she has no knowledge of like cultural events that are happening now, and she's never seen a Rubik's Cube. She's quite like an odd duck. And as they become friends, things start to unwind. And this book was just, oh my god, amazing. I don't really like it when there's a lot of history thrown into a book. I don't even care. It was so good. Like the history of Sweden and like how they think that like Russia is the America of Europe, where they're like the loud and noisy and obnoxious ones. Like that was interesting to read because I've never read anything that people thought there were people more annoying than Americans. So yeah, Let the Right One In was amazing. It is gruesome, it is dark, it is lovely, and the end is so satisfying. Like this is one of the most satisfying ends I have ever read in any book, and I highly recommend it. If you think that you can stomach some darker or more gory elements, please read it. It is so good, and do not be turned off that it's a little bit longer. It is so worth it. Like 100% satisfaction guaranteed, or I mean, not your money back, but you know what I mean. Like it is just so good. So number 2 is Best Sequel. And for this, I'm gonna say Crooked Kingdom. I don't have the second one. I rented it from a library. So Crooked Kingdom is the second in the Six of Crows duology. In the first one, they go on a heist. In the second one, everyone is mad at them from going on the heist and people want what they have. So the second book is the wrap-up, but also like the intensification of everything that happened in the first book. And the character arcs are really fleshed out, and it was really, really great. Number 3 is a new release that you want to read but haven't yet. So for me, it's Lifelike by Kristoff. I talk about this book often. So we follow Eve, who creates fighting robots, so that she can use her earnings to help pay for her sick grandfather's medical bills. But one day it doesn't go as planned and her robot loses and is pretty much destroyed. So she owes money to the creditors, and she needs money for her grandfather's illness. And also she may have a power that people are after her for. And also she finds a discarded AI in the trash. So many things about this just ring all of my bells. I can't wait to read it, and if you have read it, please do let me know. Number 4 is Most Anticipated Book in the second half of the year, and for this one I actually have 2. The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kiersten White, I believe, and so in this one we follow the wife of Victor Frankenstein, and I think that it's going to be a little crazy, and also Frankenstein is my favorite book of all time. I cannot wait to read it. I really just want it in my hands right now. And the other one is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. That's all I really need to say. I really like Becky Albertalli and I love Adam Silvera, so I really want to read it. 5 is The Biggest Disappointment, and for me it's definitely The Marsh King's Daughter by Dionne. I had such high hopes for this book. I bought it as soon as it came out in like a brand new hardback, and I regret my choices. So in this one, the mother was kidnapped in childhood by a man who takes her to a cabin in the woods and basically keeps her there as a captive her whole life until she gives birth to the daughter, who's telling the story. And the father is caught and goes away to prison, and then years later when he gets out, the daughter wants to track him down. So I thought that this just sounded amazing, and like it was going to be a super tense thriller, but I was so let down. It was basically info dumping, and every single thing was a flashback. So I really don't recommend this. I was so pissed that like I was so hyped on it, and I was also buddy reading it, so like you always want your buddy reads to be like at least like likable, if not like amazing, but I just had so many problems with this that I was just like, gosh darn it, disappointed. So number 6 is Biggest Surprise, and for this one I also have 2. So the first one was The Light of the Fireflies by Paul Penn, who is a Spanish writer. And in this one we follow a young boy who's telling the story of his family who lives in the basement of a house, and he has never been outside of the basement. He doesn't know why they're there. He just knows that he really likes living down there with his family. Until one day when something changes and his sister gives birth. And then things start to go very badly. So this book just kind of shocked me, and I think that I wasn't expecting it to be like as heavy of a hitter as it was. And the voice was so innocent and so sweet that when someone so sweet describes something so horrific, you are just like shocked, more than like if an adult told you. So I think this book was really powerful for me, and I recommend it if you can stomach darker content. And the other book that I'm going to talk about is absolutely super dark content, and it's Sick Bucks by Tillie Cole. It is a dark psychological romance, and in this one, it is essentially an Alice in Wonderland retelling where a woman has had a psychotic break and her lover has to reinvent Alice in Wonderland to get her out of her psychotic break, if that makes any sense. And to do so, they track down the caterpillar, the Dum Dum twins, and all of the creatures that had kind of traumatized her and hurt her in her childhood and basically repressed her into a mental wonderland. So it's very dark, but I liked it. It definitely has problems, but it shocked me because I'm still thinking about it, and it's really rare that I read a romance and it sticks with me. So I would say that that is by far one of the romances with the most staying power that I have read this year. Number 7 is Favorite New Author. For this one, I'm gonna go with Nnedi Okorafor. I read Akata Witch and I was blown away. Akata Warrior and all of Binti is on my TBR. I'm kind of waiting to move to Australia so that I can buy Binti in person because I just love the covers. They're just gorgeous. And in fact, Akata Witch and Akata Warrior as well. Nnedi Okorafor's imagination is like next level. Like, there's not even many authors I've read who every single page has more in it than like a lot of other authors can put in a whole book. Her mind is fascinating and I highly recommend them. A lot of her works are very Nigerian inspired and do with voodoo or supernatural or kind of sci-fi elements. Highly recommend it. Really love her work. So number 8 is Fictional Crush. For this one, I'm going with Finn from The Mad Scientist's Daughter by Cassandra Clarke. This book is amazing. I love it so much. Oh my god. And we follow the relationship between a girl who is raised kind of by her eccentric father, the mad scientist, and his AI, Finn. And let me tell you, this book just like took my heart and ripped it up, and then put it back together, then ripped it up, and then just put it back together. So if you like AI human love stories at all, I so highly recommend this. And the character of Finn is just like my baby, my sweet child. So yeah, if that interests you, then highly recommend. It is so good. Number 9 is Newest Favorite Character. For this one, I'm going with Murderbot from the Murderbot Diaries series by Martha Wells. And first was All Systems Red and then Artificial Condition, and they're just amazing. So Murderbot is kind of like an antisocial, half bio, half AI murderbot, which is a term that it gives itself because of an accident that happened in the past where it didn't have control of itself and it had to do what it was commanded to do. Since then, it has kind of hacked the system and given itself autonomy, and it doesn't know how to process like emotions or deal with humans, and largely it just wants to be left alone and binge watch some kind of trash TV, which like don't we all? So Murderbot is just like, we're all Murderbot. At least like I'm Murderbot. So like I love that character so much. Number 10 is Books That Made You Cry, and I think the book that made me cry the hardest this year so far is Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. So again, this isn't for everyone. This is about a brother and sister who are left to raise their family together when their mom is largely missing and not present like monetarily, emotionally, even physically. So largely taking care of their family falls on their own shoulders. And as they start to interact more and more with each other, their feelings toward each other starts to change, and yes, if you cannot deal with that, then definitely this is not for you. The way in which it was written is such a fine line, and it was done so well that I was just like sobbing. Like, no joke, sobbing buckets. So good job, Tabitha Suzuma, for ripping my heart out, and I would like it back anytime that you get a chance. Yeah, so I really recommend it, and it will make you cry if you have any emotions. So on the flip side of that is a book that made me happy, and for this one I'm going with The Wasp That Brainwashed the Caterpillar by Matt Simon. So this is a series of like little tiny vignettes for each weird animal in the animal kingdom that has evolved to have weird characteristics or qualities or talents that allow them to evolve, survive, and thrive. So this is so funny. His writing voice is hilarious, and he knows exactly what is funny about each animal and really shows it to the best of its nasty ass ability. Yeah, so if you're looking for something that is funny yet scientific, really recommend. It's great. I actually picked this book up for a friend of mine that's a scientist, and it's the perfect little book to read if you don't have a lot of time for reading, because each animal is only a few pages. So I really recommend it. It's so hilarious, and yeah. If you guys know anything else that's like this, let me know. Books with humor and science are kind of far and few in between, because a lot of them I find to be quite dry. So if you guys have any that you think are just freaking hilarious, do let me know. Okay, so number 12 is favorite book to movie adaptation, and actually I've only seen one movie that is a book adaptation, and that is Love, Simon and Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. So, I mean, I think like everyone else, it was great. I didn't like a few of the things that they changed between the book and the movie, but as separate artistic entities, I really did love them both. So, yeah. That's my only answer because it's the only one I have. 13 is my favorite video that I've done so far this year. Personally, I like any of my wrap-ups because for me it's a really great thing to look back on and see all the books that I read throughout the year and what I was thinking of them at that time. I also really like the Harry Potter video that I did just because it was really fun, and again, it's a really good memory for me to look back on later. My husband and I took a night bus to go to Harry Potter World in Osaka, Japan, just for fun. So it was amazing, and my Slytherin ass and his Hufflepuff little cute bottom had an amazing time. So yeah, that was a great one to film. So number 14 is most beautiful book I've bought or received. For this one I'm going with Bluettes by Maggie Nelson. I have said this before, black and blue and white are my favorite 3 colors, and this just has all of them. I love it so much. It reminds me of an ocean, and it's so peaceful and calming. And I think like even if I didn't love this book, I would keep it just because I love how it looks. Like, does that make me a bad person? But that's true. I'm kind of putting off reading it because I'm really hoping that it's amazing, but if I don't like it, I'll be really sad because I want to love it because it looks amazing. Last are the books that you need to read by the end of the year. So for me, there's 2 on my shelf that have been there since Christmas. So I would like to remedy that because, yeah, I just should read them. And the first one is The Wicker King by Kate Ancrum. So in this one we follow Jack, who is beginning to have hallucinations and very vivid kind of breaks from reality, and his friend August tries to help him as he goes deeper and deeper into his mental illness. And the thing that also got me was the way in which it's printed. So as time goes on, things get darker and darker and darker for him. So I really want to read this. I just don't know if I am personally in a place where I want to read something that I know is going to be like maybe dark and very triggering. So I've been waiting until it's been like bright and sunny. So it may not seem like a beach read, but that's what I'm intending to do so that it like balances to neutral. Do you know what I mean? And the other one is Strange the Dreamer. I don't need to tell you what it's about. Everyone knows what it's about. It's been on my shelf since Christmas. I should read it, and I just put it on my TBR for July. So hopefully it's gonna get done. Yeah. So if you guys liked that Freakout tag, then please give me a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. It would be awesome. And I will chat to you guys later. I hope you're having a great day. Bye!